Allan Buckwell, welcome to FFA TV. Welcome to the 10th Forum for the Future of Agriculture. You are an academic agricultural economist. You're the director of RISE, the Rural Investment Support for Europe, and you have a study on CAP that's entitled Thinking Out of the Box. Now, your report, I mean, if we want to try and sum it up, is it all about the CAP being about failing often, trying to fail better?
I'd put it more positively than that. It's about turning the considerable amount of money we pour into this CAP to help farmers better to confront the future that we've been talking about here today at the forum. We started off with these global sustainable development goals, and a key one is sustainable production and consumption of food. And if we search amongst ourselves honestly, can we say that all of our European agriculture is perfectly sustainable environmentally and perfectly sustainable economically? And the honest answer is no on both counts. We've got too many farmers who are struggling even with the generous supports they've got, and those supports are under threat. And we've got too much pollution of our waters. Biodiversity is not in good enough shape, and tackling greenhouse gases has still got some considerable way to go. And farmers, understandably, are quite frustrated by hearing all this, because it's very tough producing wheat and milk and meat in the economic conditions, and we're asking them to do more. And it's perfectly reasonable to have the policy to help them do that. It's just that the way we're using the money right now is very wasteful and very ineffective.
So you are calling for reform in this report. You're talking about, why we should reform, but what and how is really the theme for the 10th Forum this year, because it's about the time for solutions. Now, you said you're slightly more positive. You believe in positive engagement, I know.
Yes, and the solutions that we're offering are let's first of all agree that we've got to make substantial changes, not just tinker. And to us that means that probably the two-pillar CAP's had its day. We've got to devote much more of the resources. Instead of entitlements to Pillar 1 direct payments, we're going to convert a lot of those into contracts for delivering services. And plus the fact we're saying there's got to be assistance to make the transition. And that is said, it's not just a sop. But in a way, these payments, when they were brought in the mid-90s, were there to make the adjustment from commodity price support, which is distorting commodity markets and causing mountains and lakes and so on. It was to help the adjustment from that system to a system where farmers are not being subsidised in that way. The trouble is, nobody told the farmers it was temporary and it wouldn't go on forever. We said you've got entitlements to receive payments from the taxpayer. Well, you haven't. You've got to earn your money just like everybody else has to. So we're saying it's a switch from entitlements to contracts, and the way we run those contracts has got to move from this controls and sanctions to getting the buy-in for the people, that they realise what it is we're asking. So we need clearer goals about that, and then allowing greater latitude to regions, localities and individual farmers on how they deliver these services.
Now, you were sharing the platform with the Commissioner, Phil Hogan. Was he listening? Did you hear anything new from him?
Yes, he was absolutely listening. That's his job, and he does his job extremely well, and he knows that. And of course, he's mid-consultation, so he's going to give off very few signals. And I heard encouraging noises that he did. To be frank, last year when he came to the FFA, he said that the CAP was living up to the SDGs. This year, he said there's more to do.
It was a different message altogether, actually, wasn't there?
Precisely, it was a very different. And so that to my mind, we're very happy with, and therefore that's a basis on which to work. The timing's not great, and of course, as he mentioned this morning, his mandate is through till 2019, and it takes 3 years at least to get reform. To have a communication, to have proposals, and then have them negotiated. And so we've got to find institutional ways of coping with this. That's why I said at the very end that European decision procedures might have to be adjusted to, if we want to reform this biggest and most important European policy, we've maybe got to be a bit more creative about how we use our institutions to bring it about.
In fact, I think you said this is not beyond the wit of man to be able to do this.
No, it shouldn't be. I mean, Europe is full of and the European Commission and the European Parliament and Council are full of highly intelligent, well-informed people. The question is to find the will to bring these parties together, and I think to adapt the institutions. I do think that it's quite difficult for a Commissioner for Agriculture to propose far-reaching reforms which a lot of his constituency will find quite difficult. If he and the Commissioner for Environment were jointly to produce them, the Agricultural Commissioner can defend his farmer interest, the Environmental Commissioner can defend the environment, and then they can both say, we've got to compromise, we've got to find a package that meets the needs of societies, which is everybody, and I think they would more naturally find a solution that was more radical if we were doing that. My fear is that we slip back into what we did from 13 to the last reform.
And finally then, talking of fears, Article 50 gets triggered tomorrow. You talked of mountains and lakes, remember that from the 70s onwards. Could that be a game changer in the context of the CAP?
No, it adds to the pressures. It creates a budgetary pressure, and funnily and paradoxically enough, it also removes from the game one of the member states who is keenest on reform, but it doesn't remove the citizens who are just as keen to participate if our European partners will still have us.
Allan Buckwell, enjoy the rest of the forum. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, I'm enjoying it.